My name is Mike, and I'm coming to you from my shop in Massachusetts. And I'm going to be putting a Silver Sport transmission into my 1986 Corvette. The kit that I bought is the TKX 5, the Tremec kit. It comes directly from Silver Sport, machined with all the parts ready to go. And this is the first time I've done a YouTube video like this, but in my research I found that there really wasn't anything out there that I found anyways, any good videos of the install. So I thought there might be a need, and I was going to be doing it anyways, so I might as well try and document the process for anybody that it might help. Like I said, I got the kit from Silver Sport Transmission. Just came back from Hot Rod Power Tour. I actually purchased the kit while I was on the tour. Did 3,000 miles with the 86. Dug Nash 4+3, and it did great. It wasn't the best driving experience, especially for 3,000 miles, but I will say it gave me no issues other than, the automatically going into overdrive thing that it likes to do sometimes. And my big thing with it is just that it's not a readily available transmission anymore, and if I am thousands of miles away from home and I do have an issue with it, what's the chances I'm going to get it serviced? So between that and just wanting a better driving experience in the car, I decided to go with the Silver Sport kit. So what I'll end up doing first was we're going to go over what comes in the kit. I'll show you the transmission, all the components, everything like that. We'll go over the instructions. And I'm going to do my best throughout this process to follow the the steps in the order that Silver Sport puts it out in their instructions. Obviously, I think some of these things can go in various orders, but just to stay true so you get an idea of their process and the instructions that they give. We'll try to stick to that the best we can. I'll say this, I am not a professional mechanic, so anybody watching this, just please know that. I have been working on cars for many years. It's always been a hobby though, or just maintaining my own vehicles. I think this is a doable project for anybody that is mechanically inclined, that has worked on cars. I personally have, I've removed engines, I've done transmissions, I've done clutches, I've done automatic transmissions and front wheel drive cars. So, I've done my share of this work. I also have a lift in my shop, which is going to make things a little easier. So just wanted to give you, an overview of where I'm coming from, so help you decide if you think this is a project for you. Speaking of clutches, I also am going to be obviously replacing the clutch. I have a McLeod clutch kit that I bought, and I'm going to probably be replacing the flywheel as well. I'll take a look at it. They seem to be cheap enough that it's just easier for me to put in a new one than try and get that resurfaced. And then again, anything that I can do while I'm in there, I'm definitely going to do. Rear main seal, I do think my rear main seal is seeping a little bit, so we're going to take a look at that. Take a look at the starter. I just bought this car last year, and other than the 3,000 miles I just put on it at Hot Rod Power Tour, I haven't really, I don't know a lot of the service history. I've done some work on it, I've done some rear end work and things, but so the more I can go through it, the better. So all right, with that, let's start going through the kit and what comes in it, and we'll go over the instructions, and I'll just show you everything that comes from Silver Sport direct. All right, so obviously first we have the transmission. You can see it here sitting next to me on the bench, but it's a Tremec TKX 5, like I said before, and it definitely, I can see some machining. It looks like that was done on top. Other than that, off the bat, I from my untrained eye, I'm not sure what else they machined on it to make it fit. The shifter here, this is a custom piece built for the C4. This shifter allows it to come out in the right spot for the OEM shifter position, so you don't have to mess with that. So that's nice. That's definitely unique to them. This is their STX shifters. It's got the reverse light pigtails and everything else that you need. We'll go over all that in a minute. I think there's some pigtails on that other side there. Paperwork that comes with it. So first we have the just some. Let's see. I'd say this is just some warnings telling you that there's no oil in transmission, and there's a QR code here for more information, and it's also telling you that you must test shift the transmission before the installation. They claim that due to jostling and shipment, it's possible that your transmission may not shift properly from the box. It's a simple matter to correct, it says here, and it gives you a way of how to test it, and then how to fix it, and some support numbers here. So that's the first thing that comes in. Obviously, I have my particular invoice here, which I will go over in a second. We'll go down the list of what's in that, but and then we have, let's see, this document here is important. So this is goes over your warranty, but it also goes over your inspection and correction of your bell housing to crankshaft alignment. So this requires a dial indicator to measure the runout, I think is what they call it. It's very particular. I think it's the maximum, the misalignment specification is 0.005 inches, or 5/1000ths of an inch. So you use a dial indicator to test that, and we'll definitely go over that. I'll film when I do that. I had reached out to Silver Sport about getting a dial indicator because I actually didn't have one. They do sell one. It was a little pricey, but they actually recommended and let me know that people have had good luck with the Pittsburgh dial indicator kit from Harbor Freight. So I did pick that up. So we'll see how that goes. One thing to note about this is you have to actually document your findings, your numbers, and corrections. So backing up real quick, if this is out of alignment beyond the 5/1000ths of an inch, you actually have to get pins that realignment pins, and there's different variations of those depending on how far you're off. So you end up ordering those from Silver Sport to realign your bell housing. And you have to document this and submit this to Silver Sport to show that you are within spec, or they say it voids your warranty. So that's very important. We're going to be taking a lot of time to make sure we get that correct. So I'm going to put that over here. And then, of course, we have the Corvette specific instructions that come with the kit. So this is for the 84 to 88, specifically the kit specifically for those that have the Doug Nash 4+3, like my car does. I know from reading this, this kit uses your stock hydraulics, so you're going to want to make sure that those are in good shape. I actually just did my clutch master cylinder, the line, and the slave cylinder before my trip because I was having an issue where I was losing clutch pressure. So I know all that stuff's good. So it uses your stock hydraulics. It's going to use your stock clutch and your stock the bell housing, obviously. Those are things, obviously. Like me, I'm putting a new clutch in. I already said that, and I'm going to do anything else that I can while I'm in there. So. Other than that, in the first envelope, you get a cool sticker here. Always like stickers, and I thought this was kind of nice. I haven't taken it out of the package yet, but hopefully you can see it. This is a nice little plaque that goes on the center console. It actually is the exact same size as the 4+3 logo that's on there, just to let people know what you're rocking. So going over the invoice of what's supposed to be in the kit. Let's see. There's quite a bit of stuff in here. All right. So obviously we have the Tremec TKX 5. This is it's got 600 torque capacity, 36-month warranty. Again, make sure that you get Silver Sport your runout numbers. Oh, that's right. So it uses your stock drive shaft, but they do give you a new yoke that you have to switch on. Again, while you're in there, make sure your U-joints and everything are good. I actually just did all mine again before my trip, but they do give you in the kit, and I can show it to you later, they do give you, mine came with a Moog U-joint for when you replace the yoke. I just put spicers in there, so I'm probably just going to leave that. But yeah, so you get the slip yoke, you get the crossover U-joint we just talked about. There is a pre-engineered tunnel cover that comes with the kit, and I'll show all you this stuff in the video. And what that is for is, and we'll go over when we do it. So they give you two panels. The one is a small piece that's actually going to cover the hole in the transmission tunnel where your stock linkage is coming through right now. And then they give you another panel that you're going to end up using to cover that stock transmission tunnel after you have to cut about a 3-inch to a 5-inch hole out of your stock transmission tunnel, and which I'm okay with that. It seems like they do a pretty good job. Again, they give you this pre-engineered piece that you'll then use to seal that up after your installation. So let's see, after that, what else do we have? So we got the patch panel. We got a torque arm adapter, which you can see in the video here. That's a really nice machine piece, heavy duty piece, and that's going to allow the TKX to be held in, with the C-beam that's in the C4. They give you an engineered exhaust hanger, again to replace the stock one. They give you I think it's a Dakota Systems, and when I pull that out, I can correct it, but they give you a speed sensor, and they give you the connector plus the Dakota Digital Universal Speedometer Signal interface, so that you can get your stock digital speedometer will work off the TKX. You get the transmission backup like pigtails, and let's see, they do give you a new needle pilot bearing. My clutch kit that I just bought came with one as well, so I don't know, I'll see which one looks better to me. And they give you all the hardware packs for your transmission to your bell housing. And what else? You get a shift lever. So I just went with their basic black round shift knob, and then it's a nice anodized aluminum black shift lever. Another hardware pack for the torque arm adapter. You get a shifter boot with trim ring. Now that shifter boot trim ring, we'll see when we do the install, is going to be under the it's going to be under your actual center console. You don't actually see it, but it does help. It seals up around the shifter and on that that metal plate that they give you to cover the transmission tunnel. Let's see. Yeah, so like I said, 6-inch straight shifter stick. That's the billet aluminum, and your shift knob, the installation manual, and that's about it. Now, I did get a little bit of a discount ordering at the show, but this kit's probably going to run your figure with shipping around $4,000. For me, it was worth it. Modern transmission with a warranty, and serviceable anywhere. I plan on having this car for a while. My son and I really enjoyed Hot Rod Power Tour, and we're definitely going to be putting more miles on this. So I thought it was well worth the cost versus doing a ZF6 swap or something like that. So I'm just going to put the Doug Nash on the shelf. It'll be a good shop talking point. All right, so that's it for now. We're gonna get started, and soon I'm gonna start with the interior stuff, most likely, and work from there. So let's get to it. All right, hey, so it's a couple days later after I filmed that intro. Got some heavy storms that night. I wasn't able to do anything else that night, but we're gonna get started today. So the first thing we're gonna do per the instructions is we're gonna test shift this TKX, make sure that nothing happened in shipping, and that she's good to go. They're pretty clear about the fact that you have to do that prior to putting it in the car, because if you have to make the adjustments or the corrections, you have to take off this plate here on the top, which obviously wouldn't be accessible. So I have all my bits here. I got my shift lever I'm going to put on, and my shift knob. So we have hardware pack L. That is the 2 bolts for the shift lever. They are an Allen head bolt, and looks like they're a 1/4 inch. So we're just going to put that on real quick. All right, so we got the shift lever installed. I just tightened it down enough just for this purpose. I figure I'm going to be taking that off again. I got my 5-speed ball here. I'm just going to put that on real quick. Again, there's like a lock nut here. It looks like this rod spins, so I'm guessing we're going to lock that down, but for right now I'm just going to spin this on just so I have something to. Alright, so they want you to take the boot off. Back here. Take that out. Okay, so we have this removed from the back. That plug, so we want to make sure that that's the output shaft is moving. I can see right now that it is. We're in neutral. Okay. So I'm going to go over. Alright, I'm in first gear. Alright, so the instructions just say to please make sure that the gear selector moves into each of the 6 possible positions while rotating the input shaft and checking the output shaft rotation. Alright, so we're in first gear. Everything's moving. Might actually need it. Okay. Second gear looks good. Third gear is good. Fourth gear is good. Up into fifth. Fifth gear is good. And let's see if we can get her into. All right. In reverse. Reverse gear is good. All right. So luckily, nothing's happened to this transmission and shipping. All 6 positions seem to be operating correctly. So step 1 down. All right. So we're finally at the car. I got the Silver Sport transmission instructions. I got my son Dom here. He's going to be helping me out with the project. Again, I'm going to try and go by their instructions just so that you know that at least the order of their instructions. If I have to deviate from that, I have to deviate from that. But first thing they want us to do is to disconnect the battery cable, which is obvious. For me, that's a 5/16, so I'm going to do that in a second. And then we're going to go after the distributor. You got this cover on the top of the intake that goes over the distributor. That's a T15. Actually, Dom, if you want to take those 3 screws out, because what we're going to need to do is loosen the distributor cap. They say you don't have to take the spark plug wires off and just move that to the one side. And I know that's because once we take the transmission out, we're going to need to be able to tilt that engine back a little bit, and we don't want to hurt that distributor. So Dom's going to take those 3 bolts to get that cover off. I'm going to disconnect the negative battery terminal, and then we'll be right back. Alright, so we got the distributor moved over. Couple of things. There's a 1 bolt, 1 screw in the back that was a little tight to get to. I ended up taking off this cover here, and gave me room to kind of squeeze past this molding here down with a wobble and get that. I did end up disconnecting 2 of my spark plug wires. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to figure out which ones those were, just to give it some more freedom to move off to the side. So I think we're all set there. So we're going to move on to the next step. Alright, so the next step in Silver Sport's instructions are to take off this flexible hose in the top and the front here, going from the plenum to the air control. So Dom's working on that. For the same reason you're taking the distributor cap off when this engine moves. When we're getting the transmission out, we don't want to put any strain on any of that. So we're going to get that out of there, and then we'll keep moving on. All right, we just completely removed that. Just 1 clip here underneath the MAF sensor, and a couple of snaps, and just got that completely out of the way. So I think again, here's another look at. We just have that distributor cap sitting off to the side. So that's out of the way, and I think that's it under here. We're going to get set up and move into the interior. Alright, working on the interior of the car now. So basically what we need to do is get the all of the center console stuff out of here. We're going to end up taking the shift knob off, trim. They want these side panels off, glove box. I believe we're going to take the radio bezel out because this panel goes underneath that. and eventually we're going to end up taking the driver's seat out as well, according to the instructions. I did just think that I have a power seat, so I'm going to have to reconnect my battery real quick to move this back and forth to get to all 4 of those 1/2-inch nuts to take that seat out. But first thing we're going to tackle is this shift knob. So my overdrive button is already kind of broken, as you can see. So basically you would normally have 2 contact points back here. I don't know if you can see that. Mine are broken off. So I think you would end up prying off the front first. But all I have holding my button on is it's holding on to the T handle. So I'm just going to put the camera down for a second so that I can carefully pry that off. Be right back. Alright, so we got that button off. Again, you can see my bottom 2 mounts are broken. It still worked. It's just kind of a pain. So the next thing we're going to do is this is your T-rod that goes down and actually pushes your overdrive button. So we're going to need to twist that out. That runs the whole length down the shifter. I remember I've taken this off before. It was like 22 turns or something like that, but they tell you should count your turns so that when you're putting it back in, you know how many to do. So I'm going to just take a second and twist this out and I'll be right back. Alright, so like I thought, 22 turns later and that's out. I have my shop fan going. It's getting hot in here, so hopefully that's not too loud for everybody, but I'm going to leave that running for a little bit. So we got that out. Alright, now we have this metal spacer, or this metal wedge that needs to come out of here. Okay, and that comes out, and now we should be able to twist this off. Okay, so that gets your shifter knob off. And let's see, so we got a spring in here that we don't want to lose, obviously. And then your reverse lock out. And we're going to pull that out. Okay. And now we're ready to be able to take that center console piece off. Alright, so our shift knob's off. Now we're going to take off this center console piece that goes around the radio and our HVAC controls, as well as this panel here. Alright, so we got the center console piece from around the radio and the HVAC controls out. I was able to just loosen up these bolts and pull this panel back to get that out. We did just realize that the transmission is in reverse because, of course, that's how we had to get the key out. So I'm going to need that in neutral at some point, so we'll have to deal with that. I got all the screws out of this piece. And we're about to lift this out. And I think we're going to have to fight with this cigarette lighter plug a little bit. This button here is a manual fan button that I put in, which actually worked great on a trip recently. So let's see if we can try and get this out of here. I don't think I'm missing any of the screws. I just think it's a little bit of pain to get out. So let's see. Yeah, it's just that. Oh, and it's my. Alright, so this is just for me. Alright. You guys won't have this. This is my my manual button that I made. So that was what was fighting me there. Okay. So get this out. We'll disconnect the 12-volt plug, affectionately known as the cigarette lighter plug, in 1986. And then I'll realize that when I ran my wiring, I looped it underneath this. So, oh, there we go. All right, that was easy. So that's out. Cool. We're back with the next step. All right, just a couple quick little notes. Back here, there is this carrier for the overdrive with this little spring that kind of just did pop out on us. So just keep an eye on that there. And per my last comment about the reverse lockout, we realized that it's just the ignition key that's stopping it from coming out of reverse. So and now that this bar is out, there's nothing stopping it from going back over into reverse. So that's all that was. So we're going to keep working on the center console, try and figure out we need to get these center side pieces off. We need to get this, the rest of the center console out, so that we can get down here. We can see the transmission tunnel where we're going to be cutting. You can see all the old linkage and everything in there. So I'm just going to keep digging. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take my driver's seat out first. There's 4 half-inch bolts, half-inch nuts underneath these covers, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. I think that's going to help me get this this side panel out here, at least give me better access to it. So I'm going to work on that. Like I said, I have power seats, so I'm going to have to hook my battery back up to move it forward to get to those rear bolts. But so again, just 4 half-inch nuts, and there is 1 clip for mine underneath because of the power seats. So I'm just going to get that seat out. Be right back. Here's that 1 clip that I was talking about that we have to disconnect. Does have a red lockout tab on it. Mine's kind of broken, so I'm struggling with a little bit, but I just wanted to show you that that's the if you have the power seat, that's what you're going after to disconnect after you get your 4 nuts out. Obviously, don't disconnect it first, because then you won't be able to move the seat back and forth to get to those half-inch nuts. Alright, while Dom's working on taking the passenger seat out, I'm going to start working on this center console side piece. So I am glad I took the seat out, because you have a Phillips head screw hidden down here. And I'm just not sure what else. Under the foot panel there, I see 2 screws. And, you know, we have these 2 here, which those are easy enough to get to without the seat removed. But I definitely think having the seat out first is going to help. Civil Sport directions did say to take these side pieces off before the seat, and maybe there's a way to do it. I'm just not sure, so I'm going to start tackling that. Alright, working on this piece here. I got those screws out, screws up front out. What I'm finding is that these 2 pieces of carpet are stuck together. They're glued together. I don't know if, I'm assuming it's glue. It looks like it's glue. I don't know if that's a factory thing. But in order to get this piece out, which is loose otherwise, I'm having to kind of carefully go along and try to separate the floor carpet from the center console carpet without ruining it, because that's not, at some point I'll probably put some new carpet in here, but that's not something I want to do right now. So this is all glued. Anyway, so I'm carefully working my way along the bottom here, and I think that's probably it. I don't see anything up in here that is holding this piece in. I think that's just kind of jammed up in there. So I'm gonna keep working on this seam here and see if we can get this piece out. All right, I got this all separated. We'll say I'm not crazy about having to do that, but it is what it is. I just wanted to show you that up in here, up in here, there is a screw underneath the carpet. So take that out, and I think that's the last thing holding this panel in. We'll see. All right, there's that panel out. This is a success. We got all that heat shield and everything that we'll end up removing, and some more insulation. And the other thing I wanted to mention, I didn't have to take out my seatbelt mount, but I'm not sure if it's because my plastic is broken or if that's how they come. So you might have to take yours out. I haven't looked at the other side yet, but that might be one more step. So we're gonna work on the right side now. Dom's got the seat out, and then get the rest of the center console taken apart. All right, first thing for the right side panel is we have to remove these 7mm for the glove box cover so that we can get to the 2 7mm that are on the top of that panel. So I'm gonna get those first. Again, my apologies if the fan's loud. Working on the right hand side, just want to show you up here, so you can see that there's a screw hidden under the carpet. That wasn't on the other side. I haven't looked. It may have just been broken off. We're finding a bunch of broken tabs, so somebody might have just broken it before. But so it's right about here. There's a screw. All right, so working on the right side. Hopefully you can see this. Found a screw in that similar position here as well that I found on the other side. It's a little bit different. It's on the whole plastic over here is a little bit different, but you got another screw here hiding under that carpet. All right, working on the center console piece here, and Dom found that there's 2 plugs underneath this piece of felt that you have to peel up. That gets you to these look like some more 7mm. So you got 2 in the back here, and it looks like then we have 2 bolts up front. All right, so it looks like we're probably gonna have 4 back here to remove, and then 2 in the front. And then I have all my controls here that we'll have to deal with when this is loose. The one to go to. Yeah. So all right, those 2 screws up front, those are going to be a 10mm. Dom's working on those, and we got the 4 out of the back here. Looks like these connectors will probably end up releasing once we start to lift this up. You'll see some random wiring here. That's stuff that I had run. I didn't take the car apart when I did it, so there's a lot of extra in here. I'm going to be able to, it's be nice to be able to clean that up. And there's Dom finding more broken parts. You gotta love the 38-year-old cars, folks. Alright, so here's the mess of wires as we lifted this up. Looks like somebody has already taken amongst themselves to cut a lot of those and snip them back together. But then Dom noticed it looks like there's a bolt connector right here for this whole center console. Looks like runs everything, all my switches, the 12-volt adapter, and then it looks like we got 1 ground here. So I think what we're going to do is just disconnect it from here instead of dealing with all of that. Alright, here's our center console harness disconnected. I wasn't sure if these were keyed a certain way, so I put little yellow splotches on one side so we knew how it went back together. But that should free up this console and let us get that out. Alright, back over on the driver's side here. A couple of last connectors I'm going to disconnect just to help get us out of my way. We have this here that runs up to this harness up here, and then I'm going to disconnect the seat controls just to flop that and get that out of the way. We have it was probably another 7mm holding that harness in there, and then we have a wire tie here and a little 2-pin harness that looks like it goes down to the overdrive. So we're going to be taking care of that, and then we're going to be removing this heat shield. And I don't know, I tried putting numbers on it to try and help me remember which way it goes, but looks like we're going to be doing a lot of gluing when we put this back together. So that's our next step. Alright, so here's where we're at. We're looking at the stock shifter setup. I'm just kind of checking things out, taking it in. I'm going to take some photographs of all the linkage and everything here. Just if by chance I ever want to put this back to stock, I want to remember how to do it. Full disclosure, going ahead on these instructions here. You can see step 3 says remove left hand and right hand interior side panels from console. So that's what we did. But then when you get down to step 8, it says to remove the left hand interior side panel and remove it from the vehicle. So looking at this now, I don't think we actually had to remove that right hand side panel. So oh well, we got to do some vacuuming. We've been finding some nice rat poison and stuff in here, so at least we'll be able to clean things up. So I'm going to consult the directions and see what they want us to do next. Alright, hey, so we got the car up on the lift. We didn't touch the linkage up top. Reading Silver Sport's instructions as well as the Haynes manual, it says to disconnect the shifter linkage underneath the car first. So this is what we're looking at under the car. And excuse, I'm not a professional videographer here, so I don't have great light, but I can see 3 linkages, and we got some electrical connectors, yeah, so that's what we're going after now. Once I figure out what those sizes are, I will let you know. Alright, slight change of plans. We're actually going to work on removing the exhaust first. It needs to come out anyways, and looking at that linkage up there, getting those pre-cap pipes off is just going to make everything easier. Getting to the drive shaft, obviously, not having this here. And again, the exhaust is easy enough to drop, so I'm going to separate it here with the cap back, and then separate it at the manifold and just take it out in 2 sections. Do me a favor, hold that. Don't let it flop. If I recall. That's why I have young guys around. They notice it. Alright, so the cat back's off, and now we're going to work on the 3 manifold bolts, and on each side we've been hitting those with some Croyle, and looks like we got one O2 sensor, and then there is the center exhaust mount, which we also have soaking in Croyle on. Alright, the front pipes are down. It was 3 17s plus the your standard 5/8 O2 wrench needed on that side. There's your 3 17s on that side. I will say actually those came out without an issue. And then over here we had 2 15s holding in the middle section. Those are a little gummed up, but came free with a little elbow grease. And now you can see, this is why I want to do that. This just really opens up this area to get to this linkage. As they say, so much more room for activities. Alright, we decided to remove this exhaust hanger. 2 10mm bolts. Dom is working on that now. Just getting it out of the way. There's an electrical connector back there. And then we'll start working on these 3 linkages. Alright, so going after these linkages, I originally was going to take these nuts off. They're 14s, and then I realized that, so if you can see up in there, well, I just dropped it. There is a pin, and then a washer. Promise me, that just fell, and then that comes out. So if we go to this next one, and actually I'm just going to place this back up here, just it's out of the way. So I come up here. Yeah. Figure out which way the clip is going. What are these called? Pins. So there's our pin. We pull that out. It's gonna fall on the ground. And then we got our third one. For me anyways, it's covered in oil. It looks like it's going the opposite way. Where's that going? So yeah, I gotta pull this third one out, and then that should free up the linkage. Alright, so we have 3 connectors I think we're gonna go after. We're just gonna disconnect this here, and we got one up here. I think that's all of the electronics. So we're going to disconnect those. We have our 2 transmission lines here and here that we'll be going after. But that might be a little bit later. And then I'm looking at up here is the back side of where the shifting rods go into the interior of the car. Looks like there's a handful of maybe 6mm holding that plate in. So probably going to grab those while we're on here before we lower the car back down. All right, Dom's working on those. They are a 7, not a 6. Looks like they're actually just self-tapping screws. I had read that you'd have to drill those out, so I almost wonder if, I don't think somebody's been in there, but he's finishing that up. I got those all 3 linkage bars disconnected. The harness is loose here, so you get a little bit of what he's working on. I will eventually drain the fluid out of this, but we're going to hold off on that for right now. I'm also going to start going after the drive shaft. So I'll start taking the U-straps off here, and I made sure to leave the car in neutral so I could do that. So I'm going to start working on that. Yeah. All right, last 5/16 bolt, little bolt here for the straps for the U-joint. I've already marked the drive shaft in relation to the rear end. So if I remember correctly now, we should be able to break this free. Yep, like that. And get it to come up. Come out of the transmission like that. Alright guys, back down on the ground. We're looking at the inside here. Looks like we got this bracket here with a 14 on the end, which I found is actually wasn't even tight in there. Or there's a nut on the other side and that's spinning, which I think is the case. Which means we got to put the car back up in the ground. All right. Other than that, we have a 15 there, and that looks to be going through the entire shifter mechanism. And then we got these cotter pins that we're going to take out for the shifter rods. So let me get these. Oh yeah, everything's free now. So let me get those. I need both hands. Let me get those pins out. And we're probably gonna have to lift the car back up to get to that. So I'll be back. All right. So here's where we're at. I got this middle bolt out. That was a 15. I was wrong on this one. That's a 13. My son's underneath the car. He held the. There was a nut on the back of this one, so I needed him on there. For the linkages, 3 cotter pins and washers. I have all those out. This last linkage, I'm just having difficulty getting it past, getting it off. Getting this past here. So I'm hoping loosening up the shifter some more will give me some play there. So what I'm going to do now, this is our reverse lockout. For the ignition. So it looks like we got a clip on here. This looks similar to the clips. Sorry for the bad camera work. That is on the throttle cable. So let me just pop that off real quick. All right, got the ignition reverse lockout. This is the clip I was talking about. Just like what's on your throttle body. I'm still not able to get this rod out. So I'm grabbing these last 2 13 millimeters that are up front here to get this bracket out of the way, which should then free up this, hopefully free up that shifter and give me the room I need to get that rod out. All right, got those 2 13s off. This bracket came off, and what I found is that we have another 15 millimeter bolt back here that I didn't see before, and that should be the last thing holding the shifter in. All right, that last 15 did release the shifter. This washer was back here between the transmission tunnel and the shifter. Fell down when I released that. So it's going to end up going on this through bolt here that when you're packaging everything up, you can see how that goes there. I just wanted to point that out so you don't lose that. So now with this free, there we go. I was able to release that last shift rod. and our shifter is out of the car. Okay, with the shifter out of the way, we can see here's the back side of the boot with this plate. My son took out those 7 millimeters. There is actually a rivet here and a rivet here. I'm still holding this in place. So these top corners, top and bottom corner. So I'm gonna get to drilling those out so that we can remove all this. The kit comes with a new plate that'll go over here, and I imagine we'll end up using these same holes to secure that. All right, so this bottom rivet I was able to get to with a drill. This top rivet here is just a little tight for the drill that I have, so I'm actually going to try just dremeling that one. All right, so that top rivet took a cut wheel from the Dremel, a little bit of drill. I was able to get the drill in there a little bit, but mainly I ended up dremeling that out. And then this is the piece we were removing that was stuck to the underside, but it just gave it a little pry with a screwdriver. So here's our 3 shift rods out of the car, and that's everything out of in here. The only thing left we have to do, we're going to have to make sure that this is set where it needs to be so that we can get the key out of the ignition. So that's in the instructions at some point. I'm not going to worry about that right this second though. All right, back into the car now. We're going to drain the transmission fluid. For this here, you're going to need a 9/16 drive lug socket. I got a set cheap off of Amazon. And it kind of stinks because just before my trip I just put new fluid in this, but that's all right. We're going to drain that out, and we're going to have to drop the pan on the automatic, on the overdrive unit, to empty that out. All right, so here's the pan, so we'll end up taking that off to drain that, and then we have a line fitting here and a line fitting here, and we'll probably work those out all the way up to the radiator. So that's where we're at now. All right, I got all the 10 millimeters out of this pan, so now I'm going to pry that down. Actually, I'm going to put 1 or 2 back in on the other side so that I can pry it down on this corner and control the mayhem. Anybody that's ever done a automatic transmission pan and filter knows what I'm talking about. Dom's working on getting the wrenches for these fittings. So far we know the line wrench is a 1/2 inch, and we're just looking for something to hold there. So the manual transmission's all drained. That was easy enough. So we're getting there. All right, the pan's been drained. We're just going to put all the bolts back up, snug it up, and next guy's problem, re-gasketing that. Just a little note on this here, we had an issue. There wasn't enough room for the line wrench. We actually ended up having to get to it with this small adjustable. So we're loosening those. I have a bracket here, and we'll probably lower the car to go up there to get these lines off the radiator. Okay, we're back up on front of the car. Try and show you, there's a bolt down there, a bracket holding on the transmission lines. I tried to get it from underneath, and it didn't. I wasn't able to get it, so I'm going to try a long extension with a wobble or something, see if I can loosen that up from up top. I believe it's a 10 millimeter, but I'll let you know. Alright, hopefully you can see we got that nut out. It was a 10 millimeter. It was kind of a pain. This is all I ended up using though. Got that from the top. So now we have the 2 transmission lines, the fittings at the radiator, and then it's loose, and it's just a matter of figuring out how to snake those out of there. Alright, taking these lines out, the bottom one I was able to fight and snake out. This top one I don't see any way to do it, so I'm actually going to cut it here I think I could just do a fitting here if I needed to. This isn't really under high pressure or anything if I go to put these back. So I'm going to cut this here, allow me to take that top piece out through there and snake the long piece out the back. Hey, alright, so that's going to do it for today. We've stripped everything away from the transmission. It's ready to come out, other than the supporting the engine, supporting the transmission, and removing the C-beam. Everything else is ready to come out. So it seems like a good enough place to stop for today. It's about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and I'd rather start fresh tomorrow with that. And here's our pile of removed parts for the day. I'm trying to bag everything up, and here's those transmission lines that I ended up cutting. Again, I can just put some flared fittings on there, and that'll be all set. So all right, that's it for now. We'll catch up with you tomorrow.